Hey, Renee Joe here, and welcome back to Soul September. This series where throughout the month of September we're listening to different soul albums. And of course, we are going to be going a little bit more modern, like I said, with the second half of these videos. And today, continuing off of Sade's Love Deluxe, we're going to go into Erykah Badu's 2000 record, Mama's Gun. Now, I don't know too much about this record, other than the fact that much of this album was, if I'm not mistaken, produced with Questlove, an incredible producer, and with this record also brought Erykah Badu into the fold of part of the Soulquarians, which included as well Dilla and Common, if I'm not mistaken. The Soulquarians were a collective of musicians at that time who all had a shared love of soul music and who also all were Aquariuses. Each of them had a very unique sort of appreciation of soul and a sort of love for music that in a way does sound somewhat similar to one another, and in a way, again, made all of their music kind of uniquely whole. But I never checked out Mama's Gun, and I've never really listened to Erykah Badu, so I'm very curious to see how this record kind of goes out. It's an hour and 11 minutes, so let's not waste any more time yapping in this intro, and let's get right into it with the first track, Penitentiary Philosophy. Oh. Wow, what a splash of sound to kick things off. That organ, too. Love her vocals. Have a very unique flair to them, the way they're layered. Almost like a phaser effect on them, too. Seems like the world is against her, perhaps because of the color of her skin. This sort of self-harmonizing kind of feels like the classic soul sound of the 60s or 70s. Like a tribute of sorts. Perhaps here calling all her kind of fellow brothers and sisters to make some great tunes, to make some great music, to stand and rise. Certainly feels politically charged in its lyrics. This is a really like funky song. Feels super throwback-ish. Those drums too feel so alive, but just like these vocals belting it out. This is an insanely climactic track. Holy shit, that was insane. That just... What a swirling sense of instrumentation and vocals really rising along with them. Such a crescendo. What a great opening track, honestly. Super powerful. A great message. It would seem to kick off the whole thing. Let's go into Didn't You Know. Really like the atmosphere of that first track. I hope the whole record has that kind of classic soul vibe brought to a much more modern sound. The production's so crisp. Did not know this is produced by Dilla. Incredible. Love Dilla. One of the best producers of all time, hands down. But you can hear it in the drum work. I know he was always very iconic with how he played with the drums. The way he Dilla timed it, as they said. like his own sequencing of time and the beats. I like that sort of squeaky synth in the background there. Kind of reminded me of Igor. I love the very kind of down-tempo focus of this track too. So laid back, really smooth. I just noticed those backup vocals. Have those been there the whole time? Didn't even catch those. That was a great track as well. I loved the production of that one. I loved the delivery of her vocals. Super smooth, very clean. And I really liked the backup vocals that I didn't even catch on to. I wonder how long they were there. Honestly, it's incredible looking at how many musicians are involved in just the making of this album. This is musicians, and then they have a whole separate section for production and horns and strings, which honestly, sometimes that's a worry. Sometimes it's too many cooks type situation. But at other times, and I have a feeling for this album, it's more like a massive collective making the album feel so grand and epic in quality. So many, hands to put this town together, Let's go into My Life. That was a fantastic one. Really like the upbeat nature of the drums throughout this. Like, it's super clappy and kind of heavy. Those drums feel very Dilla-ish as well. Drum programming, Dilla, track 3. Such a punchiness to his drums. If you're a fan of Dilla, if you're a fan of J Dilla, highly, highly, highly recommend the book Dilla Time, which I read last year at some point, I think. Incredible book that delves into his life and the sort of unique way he viewed music and production. Kind of splits the book into 2 parts, back and forth. It's a great book that honestly really is vivid in its storytelling. I feel like you can see young Dilla grow up throughout the whole thing, and kind of live out towards the end of his life, while at the same time it does a great job explaining his production and his production techniques to people such as myself who are not incredibly well versed in how to produce something. So with that being said, I highly recommend Dilla Time. A little mini review there for those interested. Check it out. Back to this though. This record doesn't feel dated at all, which is sometimes a worry, I think, these early 2000s soul records. Like, this unique sound feels like it aged pretty well. Ooh. Wait, what was that? That sample felt familiar. Right there, what is that? Beastie Boys, Paul Revere, from their debut album. That's the sample there. Instantly heard it, instantly recognized it. I feel like I've seen it sampled in other work, specifically, I think Death Grips sampled that, if I'm not mistaken, on their debut mixtape, Ex-Military. No, you can't. All about being free. Super soulful, really smooth this track is. Buttery smooth. There's that Beastie Boys lick again. I like those strings as well. Very subtle, Much more buried under those drums, but kind of add a elevated feeling to them. Wonder how much they play the influence on early Kanye. Ooh. That sample coming back much more prominent here. Oh! We flow right into the next track. My Life was soulful, beautiful, great use of samples throughout, great strings. Honestly, nothing negative to say about it. I feel like so far we got a really unique sense of atmosphere throughout this record. That has aged beautifully. And on is this one. Love how much each track flows into the next. Questlove doing the drums on this one. Still feels very Dilla-ish, but I feel like that's kind of part of that collective Soulquarian sound. Oh. What a shift in tone vocally, so different. Reminding me of Kendrick, because I know Kendrick plays with his vocals in a similar fashion, has a similar cadence in that one voice he does. Definitely feel like he's been influenced by Erykah Badu. I feel like this album already shows so much influence on the likes of Kanye and Kendrick, hip-hop in general in the 2000s and 2010s. Ooh. Getting a little jazzy here. Oh, I like this. Water in the cereal. Speaking on kind of status, poverty. That piano, kind of psychedelic. This track's incredible. Oh my god, I feel like the hip hop influences are insane on this one. Oh. I'm getting goosebumps from this track. This is insane. The production on this is perfect. Incredible production. 10 out of 10 production. And her... This album's amazing. This album's incredible. It's so refreshing in its sound. It's so inventive in its production. You could hear the influences that would go on to really change the trajectory of hip-hop in a lot of ways on this record. But also, I just love the constant switch-up and detours we're getting in sound here, both vocally and production-wise. It's catching me off guard. It's keeping things, fresh and shocking. Let's go into this one. Clever. Love how it also keeps flowing from one track to the next. And the drums have a nice punchiness throughout. A slight jazziness as well. Mine did. That's alright. Maybe she's saying she may not be the prettiest by the standards. She can always outsmart everyone. Bit of a jazzy, kind of lounge-esque tone here. She knows how to style herself. She knows how to present. I really like this track. This one too is kind of empowering and super pretty. Oh. I feel like we could spend a whole video digging into the samples of this record, but that'd be too distracting. We'll save that for another time. It certainly has some dense production that samples quite a bit, it sounds like. Getting very skittery here. Let's go right into the next one. Hey Sugar, it's an interlude. Only 50 seconds. Ooh, a little flute. Like, this definitely feels like a sample. Love that flute work. Here's Booty. Keep it going here. A drum roll? Ooh. Okay. Playing with space. Big fan of the absence of sound sometimes. She could pull your man if she wanted to, but she doesn't want to. Certainly is an empowering feel to the album. A confidence. I love the humor on this track. Very braggadocious. Kind of rapping more on this one. I like the funky horn work on this one too. Oh. Sounds like this guy's a scrub. What do we know about scrubs? They get no love. I love the abrupt stops. Sticking into this woman's wealth. But then also takes him down a peg in this chorus. Ooh. Let's go right into this next track. Beautiful, beautiful transitions. This one, Kiss Me on My Neck. That last one was quite humorous. Getting sensual here. Ooh. Really funky drums here. This part is really funky. And a great, like, bass to it. I love that cycling vocal effect. Something that she's done throughout this whole album. Who's our flutist? Oh. Oh, it's Dwayne Care. Incredible. I love the flute. Love the light nature of it. This is a great track. Super hypnotic. I love that flute. I love, again, that production and the bongos. So crisp. Such an incredibly fleshed out album. Every track feels entirely whole. And like each one sort of kind of grows naturally and feels all very organic. Oh, that guitar is really rustic. Kind of a lo-fi sound, but it's still pinging back and forth, which I love. Pushing that flute. Teasing us with it. Have a desolate sound of that guitar. Let's go into AD 2000. Which, before we do, just want to say that this one is a tribute track to 22-year-old Guinean immigrant. Sorry if I mispronounced. Amadou Diallo, who was unfortunately shot and killed by the New York Police Department in February 1999. And this is a tribute track from Erykah Badu, dedicated to his honor. It's unfortunate that, this is about a black man who was wrongfully killed, of course, by the cops. And this is from the 90s that occurred. And it's still a current thing in today's day and age. Without further ado, let's hear this tribute. Again, her cycling voice. Ooh. Love the kind of jazziness of the drums. This one is super. I love that synth as well. Wait, shimmers in. A nice blend of like the classic soul of the 70s with the new of the 2000s. This one's very just like compositionally really like ethereal, kind of ascending. Very sweet, very melodic. And now we're coming back down. And that one was felt like a journey on this track, the way we just kind of rode that wave, that melodic wave. A very sweet, touching tribute. Feels like a sense of beauty in this tribute. Very kind of gentle and embracing. And that sounds gorgeous. That's gotta be what is that? Perhaps the clavinet. Could be the electro piano. Either way, it's James Poyser who I've heard of. He was part of the Soulquarians, and they go quite in depth, I think, on him too in the J Dilla book I mentioned previously. But here's Orange Moon, 7-minute track. It's much more down tempo, very atmospheric, very like a late night tone to it. I like the gentle percussion, but I also like that bass. I think that's Pino Palladino. Sean Martin on the keyboards there. And it's Braylon Lacey with that bass. This such a gentle nature. This one also feeling like this album really reminded me of, for some reason, Stevie Wonder's and the Songs of Key of Life, which we kicked this series off with. Maybe because of how grand and sprawling this album feels in its sound and scope. Oh, hitting you with those chimes. Very loving transaction here. This is a beautiful kind of late night stroll kind of song. So sweet, so gentle, and those backing vocals. Really adding to that warmth, that comfort. We're 10 tracks in, and so far, I think every track has been perfect. Every track has been flawless. Will it carry on through? I wonder. Oh, we are picking up. Channeling our Father. Love the birds and the crickets that we've had throughout this track too. Really adding that ambient tone of a late night stroll. Perfect. Perfect track. So that one was so relaxing. That one was so hypnotic. I feel like I could have let that just kept going, you know? In Love With You is this track. Bit of a kind of South American flair on it, perhaps. Ah, we got Stephen Marley. That'd be Bob Marley's son. Kind of adding a slight kind of reggae flair to the track. Which is always a welcome addition, because I do love a nice reggae touch. I like that funky keyboard too. The heck was that? Like a bite? Simple snap. Nice guitar. A much more simplified track instrumentally. A nice duet. I think one of the more simpler tracks on the LP so far, but certainly a welcome addition, and I like that sense of reggae that comes with it. Because she's already reached so far out into every genre. It's nice to have, at this point, a little bit of everything. Really shows how wide her palette is. Pretty solid track. Let's go into Bag Lady. Like the rattling drum line, like drums. Gotta drop those bags. Perhaps a metaphor for moving on. Drop your baggage. Ooh. Oh, that guitar. Is that a guitar? Or a keyboard of some sort? Oh. I love the abrupt stops with that drum. Gotta let go of that baggage of a past relationship, perhaps. Ooh. Still a nice, kind of slight reggae tone with it. I think with the bass line, perhaps. Drop that baggage. Free yourself. And move on. The main theme of this track. Gotta find the right man. Really empowering this album has been so far for female empowerment especially. Kind of embracing yourself, your individuality. This one's really soulful, really belting it out, really atmospheric. Beautiful. Great track. Oh my goodness. We only have 2 tracks left. And no time has been wasted as we go into Times Are Wasted. Ooh, strings coming back, which, as we know, whole string section here. Charlie Parker Jr. and a whole plethora. I like that kind of abrupt stop in her vocal. Really all coming together too, that cycling synth there and those strings. A very careful record, a very delicate record with where everything's placed. He's like a grand puzzle as everything comes together. I like this one. I like how it seems to be taking its time more to develop. It's a track about figuring yourself out, your spiritual journey. Oh. Track displaying a theme of lost love and injustice, serving as a message to young black men about the perils of living in a world with constant reminders that it doesn't love them and will be even more harsh to them if they don't establish a solid life plan. Much more harsh reality than I expected when I was listening to this. This one really rides itself out. I think at worst, maybe the track's a bit too long, but it does at least have a nice groove, a nice sense of rhythm to it. But I could see that being a complaint, maybe. If I were to nitpick, is perhaps the length. But that's still a great track. It's still, again, an empowering track in a way, while also a harsh reality, a hard truth she's delivering there. Let's go into this final track of the album. Here we are, track 14, Green Eyes. 10 minutes to close it out. Feels like it's got a pretty epic runtime. I'm expecting an epic track. Like that static of a vinyl. I like this kind of old-fashioned 1900s sort of show tune tone. Green with jealousy. I'm loving this intro already. Oh. There it is. Updating the production. Love that transition. Oh. Kind of remind me of Billie Holiday. Lady Day. That classic kind of soul jazz tone. And our flute is back. She's falling hard for this man, who I believe has already been taken by her friend. Oh, maybe she's falling out of love. Maybe a failing relationship. Maybe one of adultery. Already 3 minutes in, very well paced. This track has been. Because the way it's growing, the way it's changing, certainly helps the pacing. Ooh. Okay. What a great use of space. Really just keeps the listener holding on. Certainly seems to be about a failing relationship. Maybe about Erykah Badu. Did she have a failing marriage? It's like a much more honest portrayal here. Really like vulnerable in her delivery, kind of pouring her heart out to this man in this failed relationship. Holding on to past words, even past feelings that are no longer there. It happens. It's unavoidable in many cases. Oh. Oh. Love that escalation. Lots of little moments like that throughout this record. Begging to make love, to hopefully fix this failed relationship. A stage of grief, the desperation. Ooh. Those horns are brassy and warm. Nice touch. Very old-fashioned jazz and blues meets modern-day soul with hip-hop kind of elements in the production too. Very grand feeling. Oh my goodness. Kind of acting out maybe an anger here. Maybe some sort of resentment. As this man seems to be throwing away her and the family. A good chronicling of a failed relationship and the grieving process with it. And a sense of acceptance, I think, in that final line. A rejection, but acceptance in the same way. That you don't want to accept it, you know? What a incredible, powerful track that was to end things on. Really chronicling the end of a relationship and the grieving process, it would seem. The pleas, the resentment, the anger, the denial, in a sense. Even a little bit of bargaining in there. You know, you get all the stages, and then even that final line having a sense of acceptance with that growing pains line. Incredible, powerful, ever-growing kind of suite of track. Delicate in its nature. But that does it for the record. And I gotta say, this reminds me a lot of Songs in the Key of Life by Stevie Wonder, of course. With the way that this would be like a modern version of it, but with the way that she explores the sounds of soul into every direction, incorporates elements of soul, obviously, funk, hip-hop, jazz, even a touch of blues. Really all, and reggae as well, too. Really encapsulates all those sounds so easily, so smoothly, transitioning from one to the next, and pushes each one and fleshes them out very carefully. It is a really grand album. And honestly, didn't feel as long as an hour and 11 minutes. Felt very tight as well. It felt like every track withstands its length and justifies its length by being, again, as fleshed out as possibly can be. I also liked the production, the punchiness of it. I think thanks to Questlove and Dilla and the other producers clearly attached to this who are part of the Soul Quarians. And as well as the transitioning, especially in that first half, every track almost transitioning from one to the next, really added a nice kind of continuing sequence and added a nice sense of pacing to the record. And one last thing too, very empowering this record was thematically for women, for black women, and for black men, I would say, in some of the tracks, such as, of course, Times a Wastin', or the track Booty, or Kiss Me on My Neck felt very empowering for women. Just a sense of confidence within it. Great record, and a must listen to for soul, for sure, especially in these modern times. But that does it for today's video. If you like this video, please hit like, subscribe, and follow along, because we got one more soul record to cover, and that, of course, being another more modern record, D'Angelo's record, Voodoo, from, I believe, 2000. As always, my name is Randy Joe. I appreciate you watching, and I'm signing off.